What's going on, everyone? It's your boy B here with the Purpose Driven Risk Podcast. As always, we are here to help everyday people and students take risks with a purpose. I'm super excited. Today we have an awesome guest. Listen, she's a superwoman, right? She's a wife, a mom, a serial entrepreneur. I say serial entrepreneur because she's been successful in one business and she's launching another business. Actually, by the time you're listening to this, she would have launched her second business. So I am super excited because I think you guys are going to get a lot of great information. Aleise Kay, man, can you go ahead and just give us a little introduction? If someone was to meet you, like, what do you usually say to people when you introduce yourself, like if you're speaking somewhere?
Okay, so hey guys, so my name is Aleise. And I always started off from, kind of like when you met me, I always started off with college because what I do now is completely the opposite of what I studied in college. Right. I went to college with the intentions of being some type of computer scientist, and that just failed miserably. So I went the next route, which was mathematics. And so I have a whole degree in mathematics with 2 minors in the business parts. Yeah.
I remember that. Yeah.
And realistically, I graduated in math because my mom said she wasn't going to pay for me to study psychology because I wouldn't get a job. So studied mathematics and graduated and had a job. I had a job offer by the time graduation rolled around. So, I mean, it served its purpose. But I realized literally like within 6 months at my corporate job, like probably less than that, literally probably within 3 or 4 months, I was like, you know what? Like, I definitely don't see myself doing this for the rest of my life. I don't see myself doing this for 30 years. Right. Like, it's okay, but I'm like, this is going to get old very quickly. And I was like, what else is there for me to do? And I got exposed to entrepreneurship.
So wait, were you successful at your job? Like, I'm just saying, like, were you good at your job?
I would say, like, in the beginning, I wasn't like, because I was an insurance underwriter. So a lot of like number crunching and like program different stuff. And here's the thing, like my first like 6 months, I was okay because I was new and I had a mentor and she literally quit like while I was still like a new hire. And then they assigned me a new mentor. And then like within 6 months, that person quit. So I had like no like mentorship for real for like that first, I want to say like year. And I got a new manager and my manager, like, he had my like year review with me and was like, like we kind of expected you to be like a little further along. And then he was like, but I've talked to like along with like management and we've realized you've really had no mentorship like up until this time. Like everyone has kind of like left. And so you've kind of been gypped from that like experience. And I was like, yeah, but to me, I didn't really notice. I just knew that I didn't really enjoy what I was doing. Sorry if you're my kid yelling. Right. Anyway.
No, that's fine.
And so he literally kind of just took me under his wing, like as my new manager and like trained me and mentored me. And literally just within that short time, like within 6 months, I had like shot up, like really excelled, was doing really, really well. And so when I left, I was doing really, really well. Like they were very, very sad that I was leaving. Like,
and so like you studied, so you studied, math, you studied math, which I definitely remember that. And then you went into insurance underwriting. Is that a job that most math like majors does that align with like being a math major or is that?
So literally I found the job from looking up like jobs for math majors, and a lot of the jobs you'll find like for math majors, you'll find mathematicians, like statisticians, math teachers, and actuaries. Actuary was like my like main goal because they made a lot of money. Did I enjoy anything having to do with that? Absolutely not. But I couldn't pass the test. Like I tried to take the test in college and I couldn't pass it. And so you have to take this really like Excel, like probability test in order to even like get into like an internship to be an actuary. And so underwriting is like the step like right underneath it. Like as an underwriter, we worked with actuaries. Okay. So it was like the step right below it. Like my boss had a math degree. So it's pretty common. Okay. A lot of the people I worked with did have like math degrees. Then you had some that were like outliers, like English or like finance. Yeah.
Okay.
But
okay. No, yeah, I asked that because I mean, as you know, we want to help people make smart choices and kind of like pretty much allow them to understand that, like, if you're a math major right now, you don't just have to be a math teacher, and you know what I'm saying, working in elementary, middle school, high school, just so many other things you can do, you know, with math. And I don't know, I'm just assuming, but insurance underwriters make more money than math teachers.
Absolutely.
Like, no shade to math teachers out there.
I was in Tennessee and I was making good money. Like in the South, I was making good money.
Okay, good. So yeah, that's just a little plug for anyone who's studying math. Like, listen, you don't have to, because what I find is that, like, sometimes it's not even the major you pick, it's the job you pick after you graduate. And then you're complaining like, oh my gosh, I don't make any money. No, like, you just don't have the right job within that field, but there's a ton of jobs that make, you know, better money. So, but okay. All right. So you studied, you went to college, you graduated, but let's go back a little bit more. Like, tell us about, like, Aleise, like small Aleise. Like, what was Aleise like as a child? Like, connecting to today? Like, what was that like?
It's so crazy because thinking about my childhood, the fact that I'm an entrepreneur, it like makes sense, but I would have never seen this coming. So growing up, like as a kid, I like middle school, I was bullied like a lot. Like it was like, like that was like, and I was very like soft and I didn't really like stand up for myself. I was very like shy and I would try really hard to fit in and it just wouldn't work. Like, and this didn't happen until I was probably like 12. So like the worst time, like when you're like just starting like teenage years, puberty, because I had been at this one private school for like my whole like childhood. And then we switched to public school, like for my 7th grade year. And it was the worst experience.
Don't say that about
No, it's not public school. That's not what it was. It was just that year. Because 8th grade, I had a really good time. 7th grade was like my first experience with like cliques and like bullying and like literally like one of the girls like I was best friends with at my private school. We went to this public school together. She literally stopped talking to me, acted like she didn't even know me at this school. Like it was insane. I had never been through something like that before. And I don't know, that was like my first experience of like, man, like you really have to like figure this stuff out on your own. Like, okay. And so I went to another school for 8th grade and it was a good experience. But then high school, went to a new school because then middle school ends. Sheesh. And so, you know, and I had like some friends in like high school, 9th grade and 10th grade, but it just, I wasn't enjoying high school. I didn't really enjoy the experience. Like I hated the whole idea of cliques. Like I hated having to like struggle to find people to sit with at lunch because the few friends I had didn't share the same lunch period. Like I was just like, I just felt like high school wasn't the ideal place for me to thrive in the sense where I could be independent without feeling like I was lonely or like I was doing something weird. And so I came home one day, sophomore year of high school, busted into my parents' room, just like with tears, just like crying, like I can't stay here. Like I need to leave. I need to do something else. And one of my friends,
like transfer.
Yeah. So one of my friends had told me about dual enrollment, which is basically where you take all your high school classes at a local university. So, or you can do community college or university, but one of the universities near me allowed you to do it if your GPA was high at a certain level. And so I literally like junior and senior year, I did not step foot into my high school ever again, just to check in with my guidance counselor for her to approve my classes. And I stayed at Fitchburg State University for my last 2 years. And that was literally where everything changed for me. Like, it was like, I realized you get to college and nobody cares if you're sitting by yourself eating a salad, because most of the time you're probably studying or doing something. Like literally nobody cares. And I was like, this is amazing. Like I actually had like friends and like my classes. Like it was just like, I felt like people were like on my level for like the first time. Like, and it was like, this is amazing. I'm like, this is college. I was like, this is great. And so I think like thinking about that moment now, it was like, I was alone, you know, like when I went and decided to do that, right? It was just me. I didn't have any friends that were joining me to do this dual enrollment thing. It was just me. I was taking a risk. I was taking a leap of faith. And I was just like, let's just see how this works out for me. And I absolutely loved it. And by the time I got to Southern, I had almost 2 years of college credits. So it was like, it set me up. Yes. Really? I could have graduated early.
No, I heard about dual enrollment.
But
So I'm gonna be honest. I heard about dual enrollment and I qualified for it, right? Man, but it just when I went for the orientation, the kids were a little off.
No,
now
you're
I'm not
not
when I say
wrong.
off, I'm just saying like I'm coming from public school where like, you know, it's rough. Like my public school was pretty rough, like in a sense where like the kids were mean. Like I will attest to that. Like public school is definitely different. And then I went to the dual enrollment. I was like, I don't think
It's a bunch of nerds.
me. But that's dope.
I'm not gonna even sit here like I mean, my parents would call me. Yeah, they were like, you were a cool nerd. Like I wouldn't consider myself to be socially awkward. And how I was back then is pretty similar to how I
don't
yeah,
think
to
so.
how I am. Like I've been around, like a lot of the dual enrollment kids were socially awkward. I'm not going to even like lie to you. Like they were, but it's like, I was like, you know what? This is better than where I was at. So I'll take it. And I was thinking ahead. I was like, how is this going to set me up for college and for later on? And I feel like it literally prepared me so much for by the time I got to Southern, like I was skating through. I already understood like the routine, the importance of like having routine and getting up early to make it to your classes, the importance of showing up to your classes and what it actually means. And I just got one step better because now I was in the dorm and I got to get that full like experience. And so, yeah, I feel like all of that prepared me without me realizing it for entrepreneurship, because for the most part, entrepreneurship, it's a solo game unless you're going in with like a partnership type of thing. But in this day and age of like social media and like all that stuff where people are afraid to get on camera and like post things and let people know what they're doing, I'm like, you know, I had already done all that. I was like, you know what? What's the worst that can happen? People just don't buy, or people think I'm stupid, but they're not going to tell me to my face. So
okay, wait. So you're saying that because what I remember, and we went to the same college, when you hear us say Southern, that's like the name of the college that we went to. But I remember you as being like a pretty extroverted person. Like, so we're like, when I say that, like I saw you talk in front of people before. Like I think you were in plays. Like I've seen you that's
a different story. That was a different awakening too. Okay. That was a different way. We can get into that.
I'm just going based off of, okay. So when do you think you were just like, let's go back a little bit before entrepreneurship into like, did you already know, obviously if you're doing dual enrollment, you know that, okay, my life track right now, I'm going to go to college. Like what was the decision on like what your life was looking like after high school? And when did you start thinking like that?
What about entrepreneurship?
Not entrepreneurship, just about like, hey, I'm 13 years old and or however old you were when you made the decision to go into dual enrollment.
Yeah.
Obviously you make that decision knowing like I'm going to go to college next. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, or were you thinking about like taking a gap year? Like, were you dead set on college?
Yes, I was always dead set on college. I mean, that was always something that was kind of like, I'm not going to say it was forced like in my household, but it was always just something that was expected. Like both my parents went to college. So it was like, you know, you get good grades in school so you can go to college. And my mom always used to say, you go to school so you can get a good career, you know, so, you know, you don't have to depend on any man to take care of you type of thing. And so I was like, all right. And so, I mean, I worked really hard in school, always worked my hardest to get straight A's and to make sure that everything was good so I could get to a good school. And when I got to dual enrollment, I wasn't 100% sure what I wanted to study, but I would take computer science courses throughout my time while I was there. And I actually kind of liked it. And so I was like, you know what? Like, I was like, computer scientists, like software engineers, like they make a decent amount of money after graduation. So I'm going to just, you know, take classes here. That way it'll kind of prep me and keep me ahead for when I get to college. And so I'd kind of always thought I was going to go to college and get a job and be there for 30, 40 years. Like that was literally always the idea. I had absolutely no interest in entrepreneurship whatsoever. I had no interest in sales. I absolutely hated talking to people, like trying to convince people or like anything of that nature. Like if I had to sell something, you weren't going to get it from me. Like that's not a thing. I was not that person. Not a salesperson. So entrepreneurship was literally the last thing on my radar. So
really? So was it because you didn't have entrepreneurs around you? Like growing up, did you have any entrepreneurs around you?
No, I had my dad was always a hustler. Like there was always like multiple like revenue streams that were happening. Like he didn't really like share it with us, but we always knew our dad to be somebody that was very frugal with money, but always had money. And it wasn't until I got a little older that I realized like he's always been a hustler. Like even when he was in college, he had like 4 jobs. I was in college, literally worked 4 jobs. Like that was literally like, I was the hustler, like in the family. Like my dad was like that. Right. My brother is like that. I'm like that. So we've just always known hustle, not necessarily entrepreneurship. We've just always known to get to the bag type of thing. Like always, you know, get money.
Yeah, no, I hear that. Okay, Pops, let me hold something, man. I might need a few dollars right now, man. What? Okay, no, so I just asked that because I know that sometimes we don't like see ourselves as something because of lack of like actually seeing that, you know, type of person in our life. So, okay, so now we're at the point where you've graduated and you got that job. I know in the beginning you talked about how you were working a job and you became successful at it, or, you know, you became good at it, but you knew early, even though you stayed, I think you said a year and a half, 2 years?
No, I was there 3
years.
3 years.
Yep. Okay. So you stayed 3 years but you knew early on that you didn't want to. Can you talk about like what it was like to know that you don't want to be somewhere and then still stay that long? Like what was that period like? Because I watched it on Instagram, but I want everybody to understand, like, because I saw how you were unhappy, and obviously I didn't know the fine details of it, but I could see like you throwing little things like, let's call it shade, like, oh, I really don't want to be here or whatever. But I could also see you working on your business like at the same time. And for those who don't know, she's in the business of copywriting. If you guys don't know what that is, you're going to learn today, because when I saw her start like marketing this online, I promise you, I did not know what it was. Like the only copyright I know is like if somebody tries to steal your work, and that's what I thought it was. So we're going to learn today. So, okay, before you talk about like that, can you just give us a definition of like what copywriting is?
So in the simplest of terms, I say as a copywriter, I write the words that sell. So it's basically just writing for marketing and sales. Like the perfect example is like emails that you get, like the subject lines that get you to like open it and you're like, whoa, what the heck is in here? And like you read it and it makes you want to buy something. Like it's literally the words that make you take action. Like that is copywriting. Okay. So does that make sense? Okay. Like sales page and like Facebook ads, the people that write those, that's all copywriting. Like copywriters did that, or somebody. People's
websites.
Yes. Yep. People's websites that you read through, sales pages, webinar pages that make you opt in. All those is an example of copy. So that's the stuff that I do.
Okay. So it's called copy.
The words are copy. The actual craft is called copywriting.
Okay. So I don't know why, for some reason, I don't know, maybe I hope I'm not alone. When I go on a website, I don't even think about who wrote these words. I'm just like, oh, like this is just someone built a website and it just came like this. And I never, and I'm here to be super transparent. Like I don't have it all together. I don't know everything. I am 28 years old. I think you started doing this, 4 or 5 years ago?
I was 22.
22. Okay. I didn't know about this. Like, I was like, okay, wait, this is new. So, okay. So now that we know the definition of copywriting, now we can go back to you just giving us some insight as to when you didn't like your job or you weren't satisfied with that type of living where it's like, okay, 9 to 5. Yeah. Okay. I know this is not for me. How did you get into copywriting? Or is that the first thing you started when you realized you didn't?
It's not the first thing I started with. So technically I haven't been copywriting. Like that hasn't been my career for 4 years, but I've been doing it the whole time, but I'll get into that. Okay. And also disclaimer too, I am not against the 9 to 5. I've realized that over the few years or year and change that I've been full-time in my business, like without a 9 to 5, like I just wasn't passionate about the 9 to 5 that I had. So, and honestly, listen, get your bread however you need to, however you see fit. Don't let nobody tell you otherwise. Yep. But, so literally so basically when I was working at my job, like I was literally going through the training, like, so it was literally probably within 3 months. Like I'd started the job in June, and by August I was like, yeah, this is not going to work forever. Like what is out there? And I saw an ad for this webinar for a woman named Danielle Leslie. I don't know if you've heard about her, but she creates courses.
No.
But she was my first introduction. Now she's like a millionaire, like multi-millions. Like when I first found her, I think she had like just made her first million or few million. And she's a course creator. And so I watched the webinar, and that was like my first like exposure, my first like piece of exposure to people making money online, like via social media and like doing like these different things online. And I was like, this is a thing. I was like, what is this?
Yeah.
And so that was when I started to kind of dabble and kind of figure out and decide, okay, what am I good at? What could people pay me for? And I feel like I probably spent the first year and a half, like trying to like figure out what it is that I really wanted to stick with. Cause I dabbled with a few things. I started out with finance coaching. Then I moved on to like, you know, purpose driven, like life coaching type. And then I was in this mastermind group, and I sent a message asking, hey, like not knowing that copywriting was even a thing, didn't even know it existed. I was like, hey, like, would you guys pay people to write your captions? And they were like, yeah, like, of course we would. And I got my first few clients literally from that. Just like, they were like, you know what, we'll give you a shot type of thing.
What was the mastermind for though?
So it was supposed to be a retreat. Like we were supposed to go to like Miami, Florida or something. It was the business retreat. I don't remember exactly what it was, but I was just going because I knew the girl who was hosting it. I was a really good friend of hers. We met in a retreat in Cabo, Mexico. And so,
okay.
Listen, I've done.
You hear that, Trey? Business retreat really means girls trip. All right. Just letting you guys know out there. No, but okay. So you guys were on a business retreat. So I just wanted to say that because the mastermind wasn't about copy. It was about something totally different.
Yeah, it was just about like, I think she's a mindset coach, mindset and emotional intelligence. So it was really about like, you know, just helping you with that, like as you navigate through business. And so that's what the retreat was really going to be about. But it ended up being canceled because of the pandemic. But I had been in that group, and I got my first like few clients from that, and it just kind of like took off from there. Like I started to become very well known, because people started to like recognize me as being someone that was very good at it in the space. And I was one of the few Black copywriters that were like in the space at the time. And so I would get a lot of Black female clients that were like, wow, like it's so hard for me to find a copywriter that can actually like nail my voice. And so
what does that mean? What does nail my voice mean?
Okay. So copywriters, so imagine, you see how like you're talking right now and the stuff that you write on your Instagram, like the little like tweets or infographics that you create or the captions that you write. So let's say you hired somebody to do all that for you, and their job as a copywriter would be to still be able to sound just like you. Like nobody should know that a copywriter wrote this. Like it should still sound like you did it, right?
Okay.
So that's what I mean by nail my voice. Like I wrote the stuff, and they're like, wow, like I can't even tell that somebody else wrote this for me. Like this is literally what I would say.
You wanted to still sound like you.
Exactly.
So you're low-key a ghostwriter.
Yes, but I don't write books. Ghostwriters do mostly like books.
Okay, right.
So
okay, all right.
But actually copywriters that like, you know, kind of like, you know, go further, that do go that route, they make a lot of money doing that too. So there are lots of different branches of copywriting, like a lot of different specialties. It's not like one size fits all. You can specialize in website copy. You can specialize in email. You can specialize in ghostwriting. Like you can do whatever you want, really. But yeah, I spent that first year and a half, I guess, like trying to figure out what I was going to be known for. And then copywriting just kind of blew up, and I was like, okay, this is what is making me the most consistent money. Like it was through copywriting that I saw my first 10 and like $20,000 months. Like, and like, I was like, okay, so this is what we're going to stick with. And so that's kind of how I got there, because now I'm still doing that. So yeah.
Right. So okay. So and yes, you guys, she said $10,000 and $20,000 months. All right. I just want to make sure. So okay. How? And like and I'm not talking about like getting into your finances. I'm talking about if someone is like just starting, how how long maybe did it take? How did you scale? Because I know you said you had your first couple of clients, and when you had your first couple of clients, were you just writing their Instagram captions, like that was just solely for like social media?
Yeah, so I would write their social media captions, and then I got like a couple sales pages that I would write, like for like their like programs, like group programs that they were hosting. Or if they were selling something physical, like I would write the copy for like the sales page to sell it. So yeah, those were my first few like clients.
And so their sales pages. Okay. Can you just be a copywriter who's just doing sales pages?
Yes.
Like that's it. What about if you're just doing captions?
Yeah, actually, so caption writing, I consider more to be content writing. But I mean, it can,
like a social media manager.
No. But there is actually something called a content writer versus a copywriter.
Okay.
Yeah. Like content writers actually, I believe, fall more in the ghostwriting category because they're usually writing, like they're authors for other people, and they're not usually writing to like sell. They're writing for entertainment or education. Like they're writing books that are for just people to enjoy. So that falls in the category of content writing, versus copywriting is usually for the sole purpose of getting somebody to like buy something or take action and like do something.
Oh, okay. So your whole goal is to help make people money.
Yeah.
Like at the end of the day.
Yes.
How do you talk about what it's like to get a client, and then what's your consultation like?
Yeah.
Do you how do you work them through the process of convincing them like, hey, I'm going to like be good for you. Like you
before they pay me? Type of thing?
Yeah, before they pay you.
Yeah, so I guess I'll walk you through the process like in the beginning, because I will say once 2021 rolled around, I was not getting on the phone with anybody until they paid the invoice. So if you inquired...
Talk that talk! You hear that?
Because I just realized, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with like getting on like discovery calls, this, that, and the other. Like I did all that when I first started, especially like if you're not well known, you don't have a lot of like work out there, people don't know you or know like that you're actually good at what you do. Then I mean, yes, like you will have to get on those calls just for people to get comfortable and get a feel if it's going to be a good fit, or if they feel like they can trust you to, you know, with their money or to do the job that they're paying you to do. And so, you know, 2020, I spent a lot of time getting on discovery calls beforehand. So basically they would inquire, filling out a form, telling me kind of like what their business is, what they do, what they want me to do for them. And I would send them a link to book a call with me to kind of talk through and make sure that we're going to be a good fit. And so, I mean, I would basically just walk through kind of like what it is that I do based on what they sent me, what it is that they want, and kind of, you know, reiterate or have them reiterate to me, like, what is it that you want like me to do? Like, what's the end goal? Like, what are we writing? What are we going to be writing for, type of thing? And just kind of getting like the full picture. And then, you know, I kind of give them my pitch, but realistically, I wasn't in the business of convincing people. And the thing is, like I said early on in the podcast that, you know, I'm not a salesperson. I'm not a salesperson in the sense of like car salesman. I'm not begging anybody to work with me. I'm not begging anybody to pay me. I'm simply telling you like what it is that I do, like how I can help you, like kind of the steps that I'm going to go through to make sure that I, you know, produce the best work for you. And I allow you to make your decision on if you feel like it's going to be a good fit based on what I've told you, the investment, and like what your needs are, type of thing. And so I would kind of just like leave that to them. Like I would get off the call, send them, you know, the proposal to kind of highlight everything we discussed with the invoice and everything. And if they filled it out and paid it, they did. If they didn't, then they didn't. Like I just realized like at the end of 2020, I was like, you know what? I was like, I am not chasing after anybody. Like, I think like the straw that broke the camel's back was I got on a call with somebody that was interested in me writing some emails for them for Black Friday. And then at the end, like they tried to pitch me, like they wanted me to pay for some. I'm like, what is going on right now? I was like, this is not what this is. Like it literally just like turned, and I was like, yeah, no. And like literally I got off that call and I was like, did she just pitch? I was confused. I was like, okay.
She got you.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, no, I'm not doing this anymore. And so literally 2021, stopped discovery calls like completely. Like if somebody inquired, I would literally send them the proposal with everything in it. And for the most part, everyone would just sign the contract, pay and book their call and be on their way. Like I didn't really have any issues. I'd have a few, like a handful of people that like just wouldn't, or like they'd request a call first just because, you know, they're like, oh, I just want to make sure the vibe is right. And it's like, okay, like that's fine. Like just like a handful of times. But for the most part, I did not have people complain or like.
But how did did you just send them your work? Like, how did they know what you've done?
So that's the thing too. Like when you've been doing like what you do for a decent amount of enough time where people know you and people talk about you, sometimes the word of mouth is enough for them to trust you. And I've worked with some pretty like high level like clientele that have a lot of say like in the space, where if they say that somebody's good, like they take their word for it and they don't really have any questions about it. They're like, okay, cool. Because most of the people I work with, like they're making so much money that they're just waiting for somebody to refer to them, like to refer them. Right. They're like, okay, this person's good. You sure? Yes, she's amazing. And it's like, great, just send me the invoice. Like they don't even ask questions. They don't ask to see samples.
Action takers.
Yeah. They're just like, cool. Like, let me let's, how can we work together? Let's work. And I mean, like I've probably become spoiled because now I'm just like, great. Like I'm not going to convince anybody to buy from me. And you know, maybe it's laziness. I don't really know, but
I think that if you're saying you're not a salesperson, and I was in sales for 3 years prior to the job that I'm doing now. So I'm talking about like commission, like you eat what you kill type of thing, right? So I get what you're talking about. I made a lot of money, but I was like, this can't be life, like for the rest of my life. Like there's no way, like I'm going to burn out and then I'm going to be really mad at myself. And that's kind of how they get you with the whole sales jobs, is like when you burn out and you just don't want to do it anymore, you're more mad at yourself because you know that you control what you make. Yeah. So it's like, you're not even mad at the job. Really. You're like, shoot, I'm actually mad at myself. But anyway, so can we scale back a little bit and go, because when you talk about like getting into the copy space, can you talk to the people who may be interested and like kind of give them a roadmap? Like, do I need to go to school for this? Do I need to be an English lit major to make sure I can write properly? Or like, how do you get into this?
Yeah. So I will say that I have always been passionate about writing. I've always been very good at writing. But I didn't know anything about like copywriting as far as like the craft itself. So when I started my entrepreneurship journey in general, you would always have like all the courses I would buy, there would be a lesson on copywriting. Like, hey, like make sure that your copy is good, because if you can't convince people with like your copy, like nobody's going to buy. So copy is important. Oh wait,
so you did take a copy course.
It wasn't a copy course. Like business courses usually talk about copywriting. Like there's usually some like a small section where they talk about like the copy. Like if you're creating like your own like offers or like sales pages type of thing, like they'll like give you kind of like little like formulas. Hey, like this is like kind of what I put, because you know there's a lot of like copywriting copy templates for like sales and like marketing. You can find email templates, all types of stuff, because it's known throughout the business space that like, you know, your words do matter, right? There has to be some type of convincing in the words for people to want to buy, or some type of call to action for people to buy type of thing. So yeah, no, it wasn't a course like when I was first starting out. Later on, like as I was like getting more like deep into it, I did invest in a couple courses just to like learn a little more. But even then, like courses in copywriting will teach you the basics. But once you develop the craft for real and you really become good at it and you enjoy it, you'll kind of develop your own kind of flair and spin. And there'll be some stuff you'll see in courses you won't agree with, just because you're like, that might work for you, but I do it this way. And that's okay. Like it's not like one size fits all. But yeah, so you definitely don't have to go to school. Like you don't have to be an English lit major. Now, I will say if you do look for opportunities like in corporate, because I have looked into like copywriting, like corporate opportunities, like they do, a lot of them do look for like journalism or communications majors type of thing. But they also won't if you have like a really good portfolio. So let's say you decide to freelance and you decide to freelance with the intention of like eventually wanting to like do this professionally, like in a corporate setting, as long as you're able to like build up your portfolio, whether that's through, you know, social media marketing, or, you know, people that'll let you like write stuff for them, and you're able to collect just like samples like of your work that you can share to potential employers, like that's usually enough too. Like if you're knowledgeable in the topic and you have samples to support it, that's usually good. So it's not something you have to go to school for. People do go to school for it, but it's not a requirement. I'm self-taught. I self-taught myself just from the experience that I learned from like the different business courses that I had, and from being around a lot of entrepreneurs. I got around a lot of like entrepreneurship spaces, like whether that was in masterminds or like course groups or Facebook groups or like different meetups. I got into those things very early on, like literally like when I was like first starting, just because I was like, okay, like I need to get like around people that understand. I need to get around people that are like doing this. So I can get a feel for like what I need to be doing to like be successful, or figure out what's working right now and what's not. Kind of hear like success stories and like kind of see what other people are doing. And I feel like that really helped me too, because I was able to see so much different examples of like sales pages, emails, copy. And I wasn't even looking into copywriting per se back then, but being around all those different people kind of exposed me to what's working right now in the space. Like what's common right now? Like what should I be looking out for when I'm writing, let's say, emails or like sales pages? Like I know what's happening because I've been in the space long enough now, but I also surround myself, like most of my Instagram is of people that are entrepreneurs. Like most of my followers, people I follow, most of them are business owners. So I'm very much like in the loop as to what's happening.
Right. I feel like you have to be, because I mean, if you're writing copy and most of your clients are like small business, and when I say small, I just say that to say like, they're not like a corporate Fortune 500 business. Yeah. Right. And so like they need your services. And so like, I just think I want to pause, because if you're thinking right now that you can start something, but you want to start something, but you don't know like where to start, as Aleise was saying, like she was just going to these business masterminds, and it wasn't even for copy. It just so happened that she asked people like, what do you need? And I think a lot of times we're not asking people, like we're not doing market research. Like, what do people need right now? Like, where can I fit in, versus like, oh, I don't know what I want to do. Well, you're not asking people what they need, because if you want to have a business, you have to serve people, and you need to ask people like what they're needing. So that's just a little gem for you guys. You guys really need to make sure that even if you're in a mastermind amongst a whole bunch of entrepreneurs, she got like a bunch of clients just from like being in the room and saying like, oh, okay, cool, I'll do that. If you guys need that, I'll just do that. And she ended up liking it. So that's actually pretty cool. So I want to know how you scaled from just having like maybe a couple of clients to a $10,000 month. Give me 1 second. I'm going to close this blind real quick.
Oh yeah, you're good. I was like, you're getting real shiny.
Better. All right, cool. Yeah, that's much better. All right, sorry guys. All right, so yeah, and obviously like, yeah, as much as you want to share as to how you scaled your prices.
Oh, I'm I'll share everything.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Because I know someone's like, they hear 10,000 and it's a little bit daunting, but I know 10,000 is a number that like, even for myself as like someone who's branching off into entrepreneurship, I'm like, my first goal is like $10,000 a month. If I can do that, like, I'm like, okay, cool. Then I'll worry about the next. So I think that's like a number that all like aspiring entrepreneurs are like, if I hit that, like, I think I'm good.
Yeah, because you can make six figures. Yeah. People think six figures, they think $10,000 a month. Yeah.
Right. So how did that happen?
I'm going to start this by saying a disclaimer is that entrepreneurship, do not be fooled. Like, yes, I saw $10,000 and $20,000 months. I did not see $10,000 a month after I had that $20,000 for like 6 months again. So with entrepreneurship, you have very high highs and you also have very low lows. And that's another thing too, that I feel like most entrepreneurs just starting out, they think, oh, once I make this amount of money, like I'm going to be set. But the reality is it doesn't take much for you to fall. Like, and it's like, are you willing to keep doing it even when you are in the lowest of lows? Like when there is no money coming in, you're like, shoot, like, how am I going to keep this going? Like, are you still going to keep it going?
Right.
Like, that's when it's really testing you, when it's like, ugh. But anyway, back to the 10,000.
No, you're absolutely right. Yep.
So this, I want to say part of this is actually a big part of this is pricing. If you're not priced correctly, hitting $10,000 and $20,000, it may be possible, but you will burn yourself out if you are not like priced. Because imagine if you just were priced at, let's say, $100 a project or something like that. How many projects would you need to get to $10,000?
A bunch. 100.
A lot. Exactly.
More. Yeah, probably more if you really want to see. Yeah.
Like, I don't have time to do
that's a lot
projects or serve 100. That doesn't work. But you also have to be mindful too of, you know, how known you are, what kind of expertise you do have, and if people are going to pay you, like what it is that you want. Like when I first started out, like with copywriting, like my first sales page, the price I had it at, I think was like $1,200, right? Which sounds like a lot to me. I was like, wow, like I really just started out with that. But I had been in the entrepreneurship space for like a year and a half before that, where I'd seen that, like, you know, I was in a high ticket industry. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to try this out, $1,200, and let's see what happens. Because I knew that my competitors were charging like $3,000 or $4,000. So I was like, all right, $1,200, that's lower than the competition right now. And I'm just starting out. So let's do this. And so I did it. And nobody complained about it. And so I just kept it going. And I was like, all right, $1,200. And then I got my first
wait. So explain to people what a $1,200 project consists of.
Oh, okay. So for me, a $1,200 project consisted of one sales page up to 1,200 words, a copy kickoff call, which is basically like the onboarding call. And that's it. It was a call and you get the copy. Yes.
So a call meaning, okay, so you would call obviously the person who's the business owner and have a call with them for them to, and then the kickoff page. When you say kickoff, like, so you were these people that you were getting the projects for were getting ready to launch a business or already had a business?
No, they already had a business. They might be launching like a new program or a new product, like a new course, like a new project type of thing, a new product. And so they would reach out to me and, you know, I would send them everything, invoice, everything, whatever. And they would, you know, fill everything out, sign, pay everything. And we'd get on a call where basically that is my opportunity to get a feel for your voice, right? Because I record all the calls so I can hear you talk about your own product and like your program, to kind of get a feel of like, you know, who do you serve? Like, what is your story? Like, where did this program come from? Like, how did it come about? And kind of like, what is your vision for what you want this program to do and how I can best make sure that's displayed in the copy that I'm writing for you. So the kickoff call is basically just the way for me to get the most information about the project that you want me to complete as possible, while also getting to know like your voice and different things that you say and how you say certain things. So that's what's included in the project.
And the $1,200 project. Okay. All right, cool. Sorry. And then you were going on to like, I guess after the $1,200, what was that like?
Yeah. So eventually I moved up to 15 and then I moved up to 17 and I'm still at 17 for sales pages. But what ended up happening was for the $10,000 and $20,000 month, I ended up creating a package because I would have people, there was a need for people to have emails, right? I recognized that people were, you know, when they wanted me to create like sales pages, I would hear them talk about, okay, like now I just have to like write the emails for this, for the launch, right? To promote it to their email list.
Okay, so the email they would send direct people to the sales page.
Yes, direct people to the sales page. But at the time, I wasn't writing emails, but I recognized the need. And I was like, you know what? Let me just create a package that gives them sales page copy and also 5 or 6 emails for an email sequence, a launch sequence.
Right.
And that package was $2,500. So
y'all hear that?
Yeah. So
yeah, do y'all hear that? Wow. Okay. No, I'm excited because, like, once again, if you're listening, you got to understand, you don't need to go to school. And I'm not saying school is not a great route. I went to school. I enjoyed going to university. It was awesome. But I'm just saying you don't need, it's not a necessity to break into this field. And then not only can you break into the field, but you can also charge $1,200 and scale up. But then you can also, which Aleise has just been so great at doing, is identifying, like, what else do people need? I'm telling you, like, they will tell you, if you're trying to have a successful business, listen to your customers, listen to the people who are pretty much paying you to do something already, and figure out what else they need. And they needed emails. So that's what you went with. Okay. So now we're at the point where you're doing, you're still doing the sales pages, but you're also doing a combined package for $2,500.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah.
Sorry. Go ahead.
And so I think the month that I made the 10,000, like my first $10,000 month happened the month after George Floyd. My business blew up like crazy after that. And I had just started copywriting, but that was different. I didn't have any strategy for that. That
right. Okay.
But
okay.
The next time it happened, I think I had sold like 4 of those packages, and I was on retainer, like email retainer, for another client. And I think I had like a couple sales pages come in too. So I think I made like between like 15 and like 18 grand, I think, like in cash,
right.
like that came into my bank account like that month. And in sales, it was probably like 20 or 21K.
Right.
But yeah, it was crazy. But I mean, for the most part, it was definitely the way that my packages were structured and the way that I had them priced. But I don't want that to be like the main driver for people, just because like the industry, like the online industry is different. It's different now, you know, like you have to be like careful because people don't trust everyone. So I would say, like, you know, go in where you feel comfortable actually being able to sell yourself. If you don't believe that you can sell yourself at $2,500, then don't do it. Cause they're going to feel that, like they can feel that, like, you don't believe you're worth the $2,500. So why should I pay you, type of thing. Right. But at this stage, I was very confident that I could deliver you $2,500 worth of work. And like, you can go somewhere else if you want to, but this is the price type of thing. And like, I really never had an issue because it's like you said, I was really fulfilling a need. Right. And most of these clients were already making well over $10,000, $12,000, $15,000, some of them $100,000. They were making so much money, they didn't really care. They were just like, all right, cool, write off for the taxes, and I don't have to worry about this launch and writing the copy for this. Wonderful. Where do I sign? Right. And so, yeah, that was how I got my first set of like 5-figure months, but it also required a lot of like consistent marketing, like on social media all the time, posting reels, you know, dancing reels, doing God knows what. Just to get people's attention. I saw you when the reels came out. I saw you turn up. I'm like, nah, she's going crazy right now. You were probably posting a reel a day, or maybe 2. I was like, yo, she's taking advantage of these reels. And that month I made $10,000 that month. That month that I was posting reels every single day, I saw December 31st. I literally, somebody paid an invoice and I broke past the $10,000 for that month. Like,
nice. Okay, so let me see. Okay, so as far as retainer, how does that work? Because that almost sounds like subscription based, which I like. For me, if I could be in a business that's subscription, like that's all me, because I love to talk, so I can continue to talk. I know you said you don't like to market. Like, I don't mind marketing. There's a difference between like trying to sell and market. Like, you can be a good salesperson, but if you can't market, like, you'll make money because you can sell. But like, I believe like people like, I don't know, like Gary Vee, or like people, like a whole bunch, those top like 1% entrepreneurs, Grant Cardone and those different type of people, like they can sell and they can market. And so they're like unicorns because they do both like so great. So like, going back to like the retainer stuff, what are these people are just on retainer or clients retainer for emails or meaning whenever they have a launch, they pay you, or even if they don't have a launch, they still pay you. How does that work?
Yeah. So first things first, I don't mind selling and marketing. I'm just in a space though where I'm just tired.
Right.
After I had my son, nothing was the same.
Nothing was the same.
I'm still recovering, like in the sense of like I really don't have energy to be on Instagram all day.
Right.
I just don't have the energy.
Right.
So that's kind of where the glasses part came, because it's a lot easier for me to market that.
Right.
Like I get very excited marketing that. I just don't get as excited marketing for copywriting anymore. I'm just tired.
I hear you.
So glasses is just where it's easy for me. Right. But I forgot the question. What was the question?
No. So I was just saying for the retainer part, like, do people even like a month where people don't have any product launching, you still get paid?
Oh yeah. So I have people on 3-month contract, and they pay me a certain amount, either between $800 and $2,000 a month, depending on what I'm on retainer for. I have one where I'm just on retainer for emails, and then I have one where, you get like up to like 5 or 6 pieces of content per month, where that can include sales pages, website pages, landing pages, emails, like, whatever it is that you need for the month, like the amount like covers that.
Okay.
But yeah, so it just depends on like what the person's needs. Like for emails, I always delivered like the specific amount of emails that like we've agreed on for the month. With the more open retainer, where it's like you just get pieces of content, like it just depends on what they need for that month. Like some months I definitely do less and I still get paid the full amount on the first of the month. So it just depends on what the need is.
Right.
So
Okay. So we're gonna just go ahead and shift towards the glasses, because she's by the time this is out, she would have already launched. Let me make sure I'm saying this right. Visaya.
Yeah.
And I was gonna say that, but I was like, no, Visaya, which it has to do with your
my son's name
Okay.
is Deontay.
Okay.
Deontay Josiah. And so I literally just
put it together. Yes. Okay. Yes. I thought so. Okay. All right. So before we shift into the glasses, which we'll talk about briefly, but I just want you to kind of just end this with letting someone know, if you're looking to get into the copy space right now, what is like, give them like a 1, 2, and 3rd step that they need to do. Like this is someone who has never even tried it before, and what they need to be doing.
So number 1, do some research on what it actually is.
Right.
So like that's important. Look up examples of copy, even like the different kinds of copy that are out there, because it's not just one kind. So kind of look up, do some research on the like what copywriting is and kind of like what it entails and the different like niches of copywriting that you could get into. Number 2, kind of make a decision on where you feel like you would be the most beneficial. Like what niche of copywriting do you feel like you would be the best at? Right? That you would be the most successful at, that you would be able to serve clients the best. And then, well, I guess that's all part of 1. 2, go on social media or go to people that you know that are like business owners or that are in the marketing space that know like about copywriting, and kind of figure out, where you can get like some experience doing it, right? Even if you decide the first 2 projects that you're going to do are free, just so you can like test it out and kind of see like, is this something that I like, or is this something that I could really keep up, or that I'd even want to do? Upwork is a good place you could go to, and like Fiverr, where you could kind of, like apply to like different like copywriting jobs that are out there. If you want to start like freelancing type of thing and you're just starting out and you just want to like fill your portfolio, those are 2 good places to go. But social media and word of mouth, like your network, if you have like, small business owners in your network, those are good places that you can check out too, to kind of dip your feet in the water.
Right.
And then 3, I mean, if you end up realizing that you like it and this is something that you could do, kind of create like a little, I'm not going to say business plan, because I don't want you to get too like psyched out, but just like a plan of like attack on like, what are the goals that you want to like set for this? Like, what are the things that you want to do? Like, do you want to make a lot of money? doing this? Or is this something that you just want to dabble? Like, what are the real goals that you have for starting this new venture, and kind of figure that out. And I feel like that'll kind of help you and guide you as you're kind of going through the path of starting a copywriting business or like getting interested into it.
Okay. And if you want to shout out anyone, unless you're going to be dropping the course on how to be a great copywriter, if you're not, that's cool.
Listen,
but who would you shoot people to? Who would you send people to say like, hey, go and take a copy course if you had to?
Yeah, I'll do you one better because it's free. She's got a bunch, like a whole YouTube channel just dedicated to like people that want to be copywriters. Her name is Aleise Kay. And if you look up like the Copy Posse, like she'll pop up. But Aleise Kay on YouTube, if you look her up, like she's got a bunch of stuff on copywriting. I have watched so much of her stuff when I was first starting out, like watched a whole bunch of stuff, and she's really good.
Okay.
Really, really good.
Okay, cool. Yeah, don't say Aleise never did anything for you guys, all right? She just gave you somebody who can help you get started. So, okay, cool. All right, so we're going to transition from copy, and she's a 2-time, Grammy Award business owner. So, but okay, so talk to me about why sunglasses. All I know is you went from writing words, and I just see a whole bunch of sunglasses, pictures, videos. I'm like, what is she up to? And then I see you're taking a music video. I'm like, yo, what? And then I know there's a launch. So why sunglasses?
I know it wasn't the smoothest marketing transition, but I didn't really care. But yeah, so literally, I was going through one of my like really low points of like entrepreneurship. And I was like, all right, Aleise, like, what can we do? And I just actually had to like kind of go back to things that I loved. I was like, okay, Aleise, like, what is something that you like enjoy? Like, what's something else that you could like venture off into? And I had wanted to dabble into e-commerce because Trey is into e-commerce. And I was like, okay, like maybe I could have a clothing line. Like I could do that. Right. And then I was just like, I just didn't end up like going through with it. It was just a lot of work that I just didn't feel like dealing with. I was like, don't really feel like it. And then I just like, I put on like one of my favorite pairs of glasses from another small business owner that sells glasses. She sells mostly clothes now, but she used to focus on glasses. Right. And I put on the glasses and like the side, like one of the arms like ripped, like broke. It just fell off onto the floor. And I was like, dang, I was like, what the heck? I was like, this is like my favorite. And I didn't think anything of it. And then a YouTuber that I know, I don't know if you knew Ken and Diara, but she launched, they're not together anymore, but she launched a sunglasses line like a few months back. Okay. And I was like, this is brilliant. And it just like hit me. And I was like, Aleise, if there's one thing people know you for, it's a good pair of sunglasses all facts. The time, at any time. I was like, and obviously, like her style is completely different from mine. She's very eclectic and into snakes and such. That's not me. But I was like, you know what, Aleise? And I just remembered like after I had my son, like I did not feel confident like taking pictures for real without sunglasses or videos. Like if you look at like the earlier reels that I took like after giving birth, I have sunglasses on and all of them. Right. All of them. Because I just was not feeling myself. Like it's just not a pretty time. Like after birth, you just don't feel that great. And so I just thought about like how much of an impact, I know it's weird to say, but how much like sunglasses really meant to me. Like at one point it was like, oh, sunglasses are cute. It's a fashion statement. But literally at one point it was literally like a huge source of confidence for me. Right. And I was like, okay, like, I think this is something that I could really sell, because I fully believe that if there's a real story and like passion behind what you're doing, it makes it that much easier to create it and sell it. And that's literally how it's been with these glasses. Like I literally, found a supplier, requested samples, loved my samples, and then requested like, how much would I need to be able to get my logo put on it? And they was asking for some crazy stuff. So I had to switch suppliers like midway.
Actually, guys, cancel that order. I don't need it. I'm good. Dang.
I was like, that's not going to work. So I found a different supplier, literally had the same quality. And I was able to get even do like two different styles that I found in addition to the ones that I was already looking at. And I was like, okay, how much, to get the logo? And I was like, they were giving me some numbers I could work with.
Right.
I was like, all right, we can do that.
Right.
I was like, let's do that.
Right.
And so I got the samples in with the logo. I almost didn't. I almost got the samples without the logo because I was trying to be cheap. But I was like, no, let me see it with the logo. And I got those in the mail. And I was like, it's over.
It's lit. Yeah.
Over.
Yeah.
And it was just like, I don't know. It's just been such like an amazing journey. And just being able to kind of like see the birth of something like when you walk into stores and you like buy clothes and do all these things, like you don't really think about the process that it took to like plan it or make it.
Right.
But it's like now that I'm like doing this, I'm like, man, like there's like a whole like step-by-step process.
Mm-hmm.
Like my joints were stuck at customs for like a month. Like
Dang.
It was like a whole big thing.
So when did you start this process?
I started this in April.
April of 2022, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And
so it hasn't been like years.
Right, but still it's good for someone who's looking to start a sunglasses business and they're like, where do I start? How long is it gonna take? That's not bad. I mean, what is it, August now and you're about to launch. What was the hardest part of all of that?
The hardest part, what was the hardest part? I think the hardest part was probably, so if there's one thing about me, I love high quality. And I love high quality with everything, especially if I'm going to have like my name on it. So it's been like, I'm not going to say it's been hard, but committing to not like cutting corners in any area, right. It's like the glasses are high quality and I'm like, great. But that means the packaging that it comes in also has to be high quality. The casing has to be high quality. The boxes that it's being shipped in needs to be high quality. Like the experience of the buyer needs to be high quality. The website needs to look like it's worth the pricing you're about to pay. Like there was a lot of money that had to be put in up front, like from the beginning, just because I was like, I'm not trying to compromise in any area. Yeah. Right. And this is not to say like, just because, I have another business, like, some of this joint went on credit. Like it's still risk. We still just hoping things like work right. out. You know what I mean? But, it's just been, I think the hardest part though was probably just like making the decision to do it, because it was like, I'm one of those people that once I decide and once I make that first move, there's no stopping. Right. Like it has to continue. Right. Like when I got that first set of samples and then I said, okay, how much would it be for me to put the logo on it? And that pricing didn't work. I could have stopped there and been like, well, this is just a sign. Right. Maybe I'm just supposed to do it without the logo. And Trey and my friends were like, no, you have to have the logo on it. Like, what is it without the logo? Right. Like, you have to have it. And I was like, you know what? You guys are right. Like, you're right. And so I went and found somebody else, a different supplier, which means I had to rebuy more samples, make sure they were good quality, and then do the logo, do the whole process again. But it was so worth it. Right. Like now, like being less than 3 weeks out, I'm so glad that like this is the journey that I went through. But it's also like, I don't even think the hard part has really started yet. Like the hard part is going to be keeping up with it. Right. Like when I launch on August 17th, like, and that first week is over and maybe I don't get the sales that I want. What then? Right. You got to keep going. Right. And even then when you sell out, you got to do it again and again and again. Right. So I think, for me, I think because I've already started a business, like I've realized that the hardest part really isn't starting, it's maintaining. It's keeping it going. Like that's going to be like the hardest part for business owners is when it's hard in the beginning, but I feel like it's even harder when you've seen the success and then things kind of start to like, look a little weird and you're like, man, like, should I keep going? Yeah. Like, that's when you're really getting tested. Like, all right, am I really built for this? Right. And if so, like, what am I going to do about it? Right. No, and so was this business like, I guess the idea, I know that you mentioned you started this because, you like sunglasses pretty much. And you got the idea, or not the idea, but you broke your sunglasses, that story. And that's awesome. Was this more of a financial or was this like a passion project?
so to speak?
Oh, I think it's a mixture. And I think that's what makes this so good, because it is definitely a passion project, but I definitely see this being like a huge like revenue driver for me.
Okay.
Like, and I think I made that decision when I was deciding how much inventory I was going to buy.
Okay.
I was like, all right, Aleise, am I going to just get a little bit so I can make, just a little change that, I'll be able to pay my bills for this month or whatever? Or am I trying to make see a big amount of money from this? And like it was then that I had to make that decision. Like, okay, how much money am I really about to put in here? Like, what return am I really looking for?
Right.
And so, yeah, I think it's a mixture. Like, yes, this is definitely a passion project, way more fun than when I was starting my first business. Right. But I definitely see this as being like a revenue driver as well. So I think it's a both.
Okay.
Best of both worlds.
Okay. And I feel like, just the fact that, because I'm sure you got a website. If you guys haven't, go on her Instagram, hit the link in the bio. I hate saying that, but seriously,
I know, but you have to.
You almost have to. But I know that now that you have the experience of like copy, you kind of like a one woman show here. Like, you have a lot, like for someone who had to like outsource to someone to copy, you don't have to do that because you know how to do it for yourself.
Yeah, no, like I had my website designed, and for the glasses, and like, the designer, like, they like pre-filled like copy, and like they wrote some stuff, and I was like, I took out all of it and put in like my own stuff.
That's dope. I just think that a lot of people, when they're looking to be like, I guess like have multiple streams of income, a lot of people will say like, you got to have like so many streams of income, 7 or whatever it may be. But I think like a lot of people get really successful at one first, and then they try to like build on top of that one. So, sunglasses are, I guess it's not really like connected to copy, but you need copy in order to sell sunglasses and be really successful. So it actually is, some type of connection.
Yeah, I think honestly, really, like, even though I have the experience with copywriting, I think more in my experience just with business in general is what kind of made this process like better too, even though e-commerce is completely different. Like dealing with product versus dealing with like online stuff is very different. And I'm grateful because, Trey had experience doing stuff with like e-commerce. So I was kind of able to watch him go through the process, and then I was kind of able to do the same thing.
Right.
And like, he taught me like little like tips and tricks to like, save money here, save money there. And so it was like, all right, like cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's definitely different. Like they're definitely both two very completely different things, but I am passionate about this business, like sunglasses, just because of what it means to me and just because it's fun. I feel like the business doesn't have to always be like humdrum, like it really can be fun. Like you actually can like be passionate about something that's like bringing you revenue, like for real.
Right.
And it can bring you a lot of revenue. I want this to bring me a lot of money.
Course.
I'd love it if the glasses business could make me 6 figures in a year.
Of course.
Like that would be great.
I think the difference here is that with your copy business, you can kind of control it, so to speak. You can maybe tell clients that, hey, like I'm booked for, the next 3 months, but like when people want sunglasses, like they want sunglasses. So it's kind of like, you know what I'm saying? It's different. It's like, so when you were talking about like maintaining it, it's like, dang, like you really are going to have to maintain. So be like, oh, we sold out. We got to get some more because people want, versus saying like, hey, I'm taking the next 2 months off. My client list is booked up. Sorry, like whatever. People are understanding of that because they almost want what they can't have. You know what I'm saying? But with sunglasses, if they can't have your sunglasses, they're going to have somebody's, sunglasses. But so I guess it is kind of a different type of business. So I guess your mindset would have to shift. So, okay. So I'm going to let you go here in a little bit, but I just want you to talk about the fact that your husband and you are like both entrepreneurs. Like, what is that? Is Trey still in entrepreneurship space? Okay.
He is. He also has like 9 to 5. Too.
Okay. So what
he does?
What is that like working now? Like, I'm guessing before with the copy, Trey wasn't involved. Am I correct? Like that was
No, he knows absolutely nothing about what
okay.
I do.
Okay. So I'm not the only one. But as far as this new business, is he going to be like more involved with like the Visia Eyewear?
Yeah. So honestly, I have told him he can be as involved as he wants to be. Like we kind of like, you know, we've decided that like we are going to be together on like all our businesses. So like, you know, we're coming together for this one and for like his his 25/8 business. So like, you know, he is as involved as he wants to be. Like if I ask him for like advice on certain things, he'll give it. But realistically, he's kind of like, you know, babe, like this is your thing. Like you do, you know, do whatever you want to do type of thing. Like he's very like hands off. And I'm kind of the same way with his business just because we're both very like passionate. And so if he feels like he's right and I feel like I'm right, we're just going to start like arguing. Right. And like, so like when it came to his business, I tried to like put like my 2 cents in when he like first started because I was like literally in a business, like I had one and he was not trying to hear it. And we would like get in like arguments. Mm-hmm. And so we just decided we're like, you know what? Like if we're going to come together, we got to let each other thrive like in our strengths and just kind of let it be type of thing. So he's kind of just letting me kind of like do my own thing and like kind of see, he's kind of just watching. It's like, you know, I'll just see how it goes type of thing. Like if you need me, I'm here, but he's not like putting his 2 cents in where it's not needed. I just think he's trying to let me like
figure it out.
He just wants me to do my own thing, see how it goes. Right.
Okay. So we talked about a lot and I think you gave a lot of great gems. I think you really got really detailed about what you do, how you did it. What would you say now? And I always say now because purpose can change. Like there's different seasons of your life where I'm like, hey, this is what I'm built for right now. In the season you're in right now, what is, you know, what do you believe your purpose is?
Ooh. You know, I feel like this is a weird answer, but I feel like I don't feel like we each have like one purpose for our entire life. Like, and I feel like for a while I thought that, but that changed a lot for me. Like after I had my son, because I realized I couldn't be like the super hustler, like businesswoman, like making all the money and also being like a present and like happy mom and wife. Like I just couldn't. And I feel like during that time, like my purpose was just to focus on finding my place as a mother, like how I was going to do that while also finding myself. And I feel like I'm slowly getting like the gist of like how I can balance like everything else. Like my brain is finally allowing that for me to have the space to do that. So I feel like purpose changes. Like, I don't know, every day I just pray for like wisdom for whatever path God has for me next, because quite honestly, like I have no idea what he has like in front of me. And, you know, I don't know, maybe it's weird, but I don't really know what I feel like my purpose is. Like, I felt like I knew when I first started my business, because everyone says, oh, you have to know like what your purpose is or else you're not going to be passionate about what you're doing. But I feel like I felt like my purpose has been different so many times that I feel like it's just dependent on whatever mission God has me on for at the time. Right. So I don't know. I try not to put myself in like a bubble like that just because I don't really know. Right. Like I thought I knew, but I really don't.
Right.
I don't.
Right. So
I think it changes.
So even though you may feel like, oh, I don't know right now, you think that being in search of it is something that, do you think that's necessary?
So I feel like that's an interesting question. Like, I feel like if I didn't believe in God, then I would constantly feel like I was searching for purpose. But I feel like now that like when I feel like I'm in like a good place with God, our relationship is good and I spend the time that I should with him, I'm not constantly in search and like wondering like what my purpose is and what am I supposed to be doing right now. I'm kind of just content just being still and just like kind of allowing myself to fall where I'm supposed to fall type of thing. Which I'm like the last person to say, oh, just go with the flow. But if that's one thing I've learned, like with this entrepreneurship journey, that is it. Like just kind of go with the flow, like let the pieces fall where they may. And I just pray for the peace to endure, whatever that looks like.
Right. Okay. Well, I'm going to go ahead and speak to my audience and just let them know and remind them where they can find this podcast, this show. While I'm doing that, I just want you to think of any closing thoughts, any closing remarks you want to say, any shout outs about your business. That's going to be your time to rock the mic and do whatever. So go ahead and think about that. But for right now, I want to speak to my community. Hey, you guys, I love you all. Listen, you can find this podcast and all my other podcasts on any streaming platform. I mean, Apple, Spotify, Amazon, Stitcher, Google, definitely YouTube if you want to see the video version, which is always recommended because you get to see my beautiful face. But I just want to let you guys know we are simply here to remind you that purpose is real. Purpose is something that you can go after. And although it may be risky, I hope that I'm bringing on the right people on this show to help you all and kind of guide you all through that risk and helping you find your purpose. So that's my piece. Aleise, it's on you.
Yeah. So I want to say that one of the biggest things that my husband still gets on me about is he's like, you're always just ready to spend so much money to do these things. And it's facts. I am when I first started entrepreneurship, I was ready to drop those bands, okay, to learn and do what I needed to do. And I will say that may not be for everyone, but I do want to say, if you are passionate about something and you know that you want to embark on a certain journey, and if there is a way for you to, learn the skills that you need to and gain the experience that you can, that will, save you 10 years down the line, versus, doing it by yourself and, falling, getting back up and doing things for the next 20 years versus just, paying somebody that maybe has the knowledge and the experience that can really help you get to where you want to be. I encourage you to take the risk, especially if it's something that you are sure that you want to continue doing, just because, don't get me wrong. I've gotten myself into some holes. I'm not going to sit here and lie and say, oh, it's just been amazing. Every investment has been worth it. But even though I have been in the holes, I feel like they've all been worth it. They've all brought me here. They've all gotten me the experience that I have now and the knowledge that I would have never gotten if I didn't pay to get it. Right. So take the risk.
That's dope. Okay. Where can they find you? Social medias, business pages, whatever you have, all that stuff. Go ahead and shout that out.
Yeah. So social media is at Aleise Kay, Aleise Kay. And you'll find my Visaya Eyewear business page through there, just because I'm not going to spell that out for y'all. It's a little complicated. But Visaya Eyewear is launching August 17th. By the time you listen to this, would have already launched. So be sure to head on over there and get yourself some cute sunnies. Summer's not over yet.
Right.
So.
Wait. Is it unisex? Because I'm trying to see if can I grab a pair or no? Not yet.
So it's not unisex yet, but the next collection for fall winter time is going to
okay. I'll wait. It's all good.
Yeah, my brother's been like, where's the guys? Can I invest in the guys? I was like, hold on.
Right. No, okay, cool. No, that's dope. All right. Well, you guys, once again, man, this is the Purpose Driven Risk podcast. I just want to remind all of you that we're bringing this information, so that you guys can be action takers. So what I mean by that is, if you see Alise's link in the bio to buy to purchase some eyewear, we want you to do that. We want you to support, right? Because she's giving you the gems that's hopefully going to make you successful. Also, if you're someone right now looking to get into the copyright space, I'm going to go ahead and actually get the name and the information from Aleise on who she mentioned that you can go ahead and tap in with to maybe start that process. But once again, this is something where we're not knocking school or traditional education, but the fact that we both went to college, we both have our degrees. Aleise was working in corporate and found another way to make just as much and more money than what she was doing using her degree. We just want to make sure that you all know all of the options that there are and not just focusing on one before you make that decision. So once again, it's your boy B with the Purpose Driven Risk podcast. And I love you all and have a great one. Peace.